Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. There are two types of people in the world. People who love physical media, books, DVDs, vinyl, game discs, and people who think all of that belongs in a museum next to the dinosaurs. And both sides think the other is completely wrong. Physical media fans say digital is fragile, temporary, and can vanish overnight. Digital fans say physical media is bulky, outdated, and a pain to store. So today, we're breaking down physical versus digital media, the pros, the cons, and why neither side is ever going to win this argument. What is physical media? Physical media is anything you can hold in your hands. Books, CDs, DVDs, Blu-rays, vinyl records, cartridges, discs. If you can drop it on your foot and regret it instantly, it's physical media. For most of human history, physical was the only option. If knowledge existed, it existed on paper, stone, clay tablets, or something else that could be lost, burned, or eaten by rats. Which, historically speaking, happened a lot. Famously, the E.T., the extraterrestrial Atari 2600 game, is legendary as a video game disaster, contributing to the 1983 video game crash, with its unsold cartridges famously buried in a New Mexico landfill, a myth later confirmed by excavation. Pros of physical media. Let's start with why people love it. First, ownership. If you buy a physical book, DVD, or game disc, you actually own it. Not access to it. Not a temporary license. Not as long as the service exists. No terms of service. No account bans. No licensing disputes. No 2 a.m. message saying, "This title has been removed from our platform." If the internet dies tomorrow, your bookshelf still works. Your DVD player still works. Your game console still boots. And that matters more than people think. Physical media used to come with things that simply don't exist anymore. Collector's editions of video games came with art books, soundtrack CDs, developer commentaries, behind-the-scenes documentaries, maps, statues, steelbook cases, early DVDs and Blu-rays often included, director's cuts, deleted scenes, commentary tracks, making of featurettes, hidden Easter eggs. In some cases, the bonus content alone is now historically valuable. Entire documentaries, interviews, and behind-the-scenes footage exist only on old discs, never uploaded, never remastered, never preserved digitally. When digital storefronts shut down, none of that comes with them. No retroactive changes. A physical copy is frozen in time. No updates, no edits, no removals, no content adjustments to meet modern standards. Which brings us to cultural change. What was considered acceptable at one point in history is not always viewed the same way later. A famous example is Disney's Aladdin. The original 1992 release included lyrics in the opening song that were later changed for being culturally insensitive. Modern digital versions reflect the revised lyrics. But if you own an original VHS or early DVD copy, you still have the original version, unchanged. The same applies to dialogue edits, scene removals, content warnings replacing original material, entire episodes quietly disappearing from streaming platforms. Physical media preserves what actually existed, not what's later deemed acceptable. And this is why collectors still matter. They aren't just hoarding nostalgia, they're accidentally acting as unofficial archivists. Because once something only exists digitally, it can be edited, restricted, or erased without anyone noticing. And when that happens, the only proof it ever existed may be sitting on a dusty shelf somewhere. On a disc, in a box, owned by someone who never clicked agree. What is digital media? Digital media is anything that exists as data. Ebooks, streaming films, music libraries, cloud storage, digital games. If it disappears when the power goes out, it's digital. And to be fair, digital media changed everything. For the first time in history, humanity could store more knowledge than ever, copy it infinitely, and distribute it instantly across the planet. Which sounds amazing. And it is. Mostly. But there's cons of digital media. Here's the catch. You don't own it. You're renting access. Platforms can remove content, edit content, lose licensing rights, shut down entirely. And when they do, your purchases can vanish. This has already happened, multiple times. to entire libraries of games, films, and books. Dependence. Digital media relies on electricity, servers, companies, the internet. No power, no access. Silent loss. Physical media disappears loudly. Fires, floods, wars. Digital media disappears quietly. Expired licenses, dead servers, forgotten formats. Which is arguably worse? So, which is better? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Neither is perfect, but they are not equally flawed. Physical media is stable, but vulnerable. Digital media is convenient, but conditional. A physical book can burn. A disk can snap. A shelf can flood. But when physical media is destroyed, it happens loudly. There is evidence. There is loss you can point to. Digital media doesn't disappear that way. It vanishes quietly. A server shuts down. A license expires. A company changes policy. And suddenly, something you owned is just gone. No smoke, no ruins, no record. And that difference matters. Physical media exists outside permission. Once it's in your hands, it doesn't care if a company goes bankrupt, gets bought, or decides your content no longer fits its brand. Digital media only exists as long as someone else allows it to, which is why digital libraries shrink, not grow. History shows us that no format lasts forever, but it also shows us something else. Knowledge survives best when individuals physically possess it. Monasteries preserved books when empires collapsed. Private collectors saved films studios discarded. Personal libraries outlived governments, platforms, and companies. Physical media doesn't rely on a password. It doesn't require authentication. It doesn't ask permission. So while digital media is convenient and undeniably useful, physical media remains the last line of defense against total loss. Because you can back up a hard drive, but you can't back up something that was never truly yours. Only copying, preserving, and physically owning knowledge has ever kept it alive. And history is very clear on that.